The perception was that Staubach was squeaky clean. In most films, this is the point where the skeletons come out of the closet.
I guess it's the challenge of people to put documentaries together to try and find somebody to say a bad word about him, but I wish you all the best in that regard.
Nobody's going to find anything wrong with him because he does everything right.
Staubach has no skeletons, but in reality, Captain America could be both tender and tough, a lover and a fighter.
You think about, like, who would you want at your back in an alley if you were ever in a tough fight? You know, I used to think I wanted Randy White, but after seeing Roger for a while, I wouldn't mind having Roger Staubach at my back, too. I mean, he's a little white guy, but I believe he'd fight anybody.
In 1976, Roger Staubach did get in a fight with, of all people, his backup quarterback, Clint Longley.
I witnessed it all. If I had a camera there, I would have sold it to 60 Minutes or something, because it was some weird stuff.
Clint was my backup quarterback, and, we got along great. But in '76, we got Danny White came to the team.
Clint was starting to feel the pressure of Danny and Roger. He knew he couldn't beat out Roger, but he started feeling the pressure of Danny pushing for that second spot.
They get into an argument over an out route or something that was thrown, and Roger said something to him about it, and Clint said something to him back.
And the next thing you know, Clint's feet are in the air, and Roger's got him pinned down.
Quarterbacks don't do this, right?
Using that Navy stuff on him, man, that military infantry stuff on him, man, and we never knew Roger had that in him.
This guy's been to Vietnam. You've been to Abilene.
So next day, we get ready for practice. We're in the locker room getting dressed.
And Roger's pulling his shoulder pads on over his head.
And Clint jumped off that seat and just cold-cocked Roger.
Sucker punched him.
And Roger hit his head on that scale, and phew, blood went gushing everywhere.
And turned around like a coward and ran out the door.
He was packed, ready to go. I mean, it was premeditated.
Before Roger could get to the dorm, Clint was in his car riding down the street that headed out of Thousand Oaks, and that's actually the last time I saw Clint Longley.
The Longley incident left Staubach with some stitches.
Yesterday, I was in the locker room. I was putting on my pads, or hadn't been. In fact, it was the happiest locker room of the training camp. We were getting ready to leave, and I waited. I was putting on my pads, and all of a sudden, he just hit me from the left side. I didn't see what happened at all. There was no. He mentioned that I kicked some chairs and provoked him, which is just an outright lie. There was nothing said or nothing done. It was premeditated. Evidently, it had been simmering all day, and some of the things that took place during the day kind of were warnings, which I wish I would have known about. Of course, it was a gutless punch. I had nothing I could do. By the time I recovered, I had slammed my head against the scale there and cut my forehead. His punch just dazed me. It really didn't do a lot of damage. The scales what did the damage to my head. It cut my head, and of course I recovered and went after him. By that time, of course, I was grabbed by Ed Jones, D.D. Lewis, and a lot of my teammates, and I guess he picked the locker room because he knew someone would grab me after what he did, because of course as a human being, when someone does something like that, that's to me very gutless, you want to react and get back, and that's the honest version. There was no provocation at all. He just took a punch where he knew I couldn't defend myself, and I couldn't. Anytime you're not looking, it's very easy to hit someone as hard as you can. As far as what's happened since June, I don't understand it. I don't understand why Clint has taken this position. Last year we got along very well, and it started in June. He wouldn't even throw at the same times that White and I did out the practice field, and I don't know what that reason is, and only he can answer that. He's gave me an answer of, he said it broke his concentration communicating with other quarterbacks, so that's the way he wanted it, and that's the way it was in training camp, and you got to face the challenge, whether it's from Danny White, and I've got to face the challenge if it's from Clint Longley, and that's the name of the game. You just don't go into a shell and do some of the things that have taken place out in training camp. It's over with as far as I'm concerned. The rest of it's up to the.
For it?
Well, I can forgive. Right now, it's very difficult. what happened, I would never do to anyone. I would give someone an equal chance to defend himself. And of course, even when my teammates grabbed me, I didn't have a chance. I mean, I was, I could do, you could do this to Muhammad Ali if he wasn't looking. He had a glass in his hand, but you sure wouldn't want to see him afterwards.
And after the game, one of the Cowboy linemen, Lay Nye, said, in referring to how unprepared Clint Longley was, he said, "This victory is a triumph for the uncluttered mind."
And forever he'll be remembered as the Cowboy on Thanksgiving Day that won that game and also punched out Roger Staubach.
Yes, Longley made news once more in training camp in 1976.
The story as it goes in Dallas is that game went to Clint Longley's head and gave him an inflated sense of who he was and what his role within the Cowboys organization should be.
He said something about me one day, and I told him, don't ever say anything about me to any of my teammates. Say it to me with my face. A few days later, he did something to me. He hit me from behind and just completely, that's exactly what happened. I mean, his story that I was facing him and saying something to him was a lie.
Looking back on it, you don't have an explanation for something like that. It was two men getting on each other's nerves, and it seems very unlikely, one of the most unlikely things that could have happened.
Of course, he left immediately, ran, and I've never seen him since that day.
To prevent Staubach from probably physically killing Clint Longley, the Cowboys cut him immediately, put him in a car, and sent him to the airport, and I'm not sure Clint Longley's been heard of since.
The last thing that we heard, he was selling carpet remnants out of the back of a van in Marfa, Texas.